All right, we live once again. Pep Talk UK, joined by two gentlemen that I've known for quite a while. Youssef Super Khoumari, Xavier Miller, IQ Boxing in the building, Team Body Snatcher. Guys, what's crackalacking? How things?
What's happening, man? Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year, kind of, man.
Nah, it's happy, man. Positive.
Yeah, you're right. That's what we were talking offline. Now, I come with a negative. We were talking about that offline, but you know, we're just going to keep it moving. I mean, how you guys kind of responded so far to the news that all boxing in Great Britain has, in the UK has been suspended for January by the British Boxing Board of Control. Xavier.
Well, it's not a shock. If we go by what happened last year, it was a roller coaster ride in regards to boxing and the world, and it is what it is. And my team, we just stay positive and just do what we can do. If you can't get to a gym, then run or train outside. That's just the way it is. That's just life. It's not always going to go the way you want it to go. And rather than complain or it's just find another way. Find another way. So it's a test for everybody. And that's how you got to look at it. It's a test.
Youssef, how did you kind of react to the news about no boxing in the UK for January?
Do you know what? It was I kind of saw it coming in a way. We saw a couple football matches get cancelled. And I always think in this country, football's always the benchmark for what's going on in terms of sport at the moment. So when I saw a couple games got cancelled, I thought, it's not going to be long until, boxing and other sports are going to follow as well. But, we just got to stay positive, like Coach said. Stay ready. Just be like firemen, Firemen are in the fire station. As soon as the alarm goes off, they put the suit on and jump in the fire truck and they're ready to go. So I'm saying ready like I'm a fireman, just ready. If the phone goes off and say, there's a fight, I'm ready to go, man. That's the alarm for me.
Hey, you did mention that you was expecting this whole lockdown thing. Well, you was expecting boxing to be locked off basically because it goes the way of football. And obviously you're a Fulham fan from what I remember. So your team obviously had all those outbreaks of cases recently. So makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, like I said, once football got cancelled in the first lockdown, everything sort of followed it. So I feel like whatever happens to that is everything else will just follow. So yeah, that's what made me kind of think, boxing.
I was looking forward to that game because we had a sportsman bet, me and Super, because I'm Tottenham, me Fulham, so I think that's the game that got cancelled. That was frustrating, man.
That's crazy. Keep my money.
And we were in desperate need of a victory at that time, especially. So yeah, I wanted that game.
Yeah, I see you guys wiping out Leeds like yesterday, which was mad.
We needed it.
You guys finally are playing some attacking football. Last time I saw you guys, you had two left backs, two right backs.
Listen, Jose gets results, but he's walking a thin line. I don't know what his tactics are in game, but every time I watch Tottenham, it's like they're getting outplayed. That's not like Tottenham. So, but you know what? Look where they are on the table. So you can't knock it. All
right, we've got some of the viewers that have joined us. We've got to big them up. Big up, Mr. Rhymes. Mullers 27, big yourself up. SE, big yourself up. Black Dawn, Ems, Delroy Dapia.
Yes, Delroy Dapia. That's one of mine.
So your guy, yeah?
That's one of my fighters, yeah.
All right, okay.
He was a really good amateur, good fighter, Delroy. Good fighter.
From the end, yeah? From Northwest London?
He's from like Enfield or Edmonton, I think, one of those places. But he was but when I first opened the gym, he was one of the first boxers in like 2013. Actually, was there along with Youssef and Dennis and so on. So yeah, man, respect to him, man, and Adrian. They were there from the beginning.
Okay, all right. From Edmonton, home of T and Wayne, yeah. Okay. All right. First question, right? Before we kind of get into what we're going to talk about, we've got to kind of engage the viewers a bit as well. So. Mullers 27 says, guys, hope you guys are good. Is White versus Povetkin off, or can you change the location? That's to Xavier Miller.
Yeah, listen, at this point in time, you know, we're focused on that fight. You know, the date floating around is the first, like, very early March. And yeah, we're just working towards that date. So just stay positive. That should be the date. But, you know, the way things have been lately in boxing, things do change here and there. But yeah, I think that date will be fine. I think we'll be ready to go.
Would that kind of coincide with Youssef, getting out there as well?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea. I mean, Dillian, you know, he's taken a real liking to Youssef, and he likes his skill set. He knows Youssef's hungry, and he's going to try and get him on the undercard. And you know, that should be the first time he gets some real TV exposure. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Youssef, man, you've been waiting, man. You've been taking over. It's been what, a year since you've been in the ring, right? So how you kind of kept yourself motivated, fit, etc.?
You know what? Always being in the gym and always staying in shape. It's always something I've done from when I was a young amateur in the gym. It's just nothing new to me. It's not something I have to motivate myself to do or something I've got to force myself to do. It's natural to me. I'm always in the gym. I'm always training. You know, when you're really driven to do something and you're really hungry to go and achieve something, you do whatever and anything it takes to get there. And, you know, if for me to come out the gym now and not train throughout this lockdown or not train, I would have blown up in weight. I would have lost my sharpness. And if the phone rang for something, I wouldn't be able to take the call because, you know, I'm out of shape and that now. So it's just common sense for me and just for me to stay in the gym and to stay ready. It weren't really nothing difficult for me to do.
I remember the first time I saw you in Punch London, I was like, okay, you know, remember, I think we did an interview in my car at the time. That was a few years back.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, since then I said, you know what, this guy's remained dedicated towards his craft, because you have seen a lot of people come in and go straight back out, lose that motivation, blow up in weight. And
Absolutely.
Credit to you, man. You stuck at it, man.
Yeah, I mean, 100%, man. I mean, you know, in boxing, you always hear of stories of people just taking a chance out of nowhere. You know, going back to like Ryan Rhodes and them guys, taking a chance and all of a sudden becoming a world champion. So, you know, in this game, just learning from those situations and learning that to be able to take the best opportunities that come around, you got to always be in shape, always be in the gym and just stay ready.
I remember offering you a Five Guys, man. You said no to me back then, but that's another story. That's another podcast.
I'll take that now, you know.
You take it now, yeah? All right.
Yeah.
From the frustration of the lockdown, man, the impending of a lockdown. All right, let's get to the questions. We're gonna kind of mix it up so we can engage the viewers. All right, SC, question for Xavier. He's a great coach. Does he think Dillian Whyte'S punch resistance will be affected from the Povetkin KO? Most fighters who get knocked out, their punch resistance ain't the same.
No, he'd be absolutely fine. With fights, historically, you worry more about guys that have taken a sustained beating round after round after round. That was the first clean headshot that he had taken. So there's no ill effects. He's ready to go, and we're just focused on the rematch. But yeah, good question.
And I suppose, look, in boxing, anybody can suffer a knockdown, a stoppage, a loss. I mean, we saw Luke Campbell for the first time yesterday being stopped in that manner with that liver shot. So it can happen to the best of us. You know
Especially
what I mean?
Especially up at that level. You're talking at the highest level.
Exactly. At the highest level, everyone's dangerous, basically. You know, but you can fight plumbers and then look good and just, fight plumbers forever and stay undefeated. You can do that. That's another option. But again, you're not going to get anywhere. Is it fair to say that?
Absolutely. And that sort of ethos is not from my gym. We Super, Dennis, they're warriors, man. Kay, Prosper, Adrian, they want smoke. So we like tough challenges. That's what we got. That's what we're in for. I mean, even when you said first title fight, we went in with an unbeaten guy. That's the mentality we have. Kay Prosper fought a very, very dangerous guy when he fought for English title. This is the mentality we have, and I think that's why Youssef gets on so well with Dillian, so does Kay. It's that mentality, we want to fight the best guys. Boxing's a risky business. It's a risk business, so you got to take the risk to get the rewards, and that's boxing.
All right, we're gonna engage the viewers, guys. Smash that like button. Super Youssef Khoumari in the building. Xavier Miller. It's a party once more. Okay. All right, Ems. Will Dillian Whyte ever do a meet and greet in the new year? Hopefully, COVID dies down. He's such an inspiration to life, not just the boxing. And truly, the British media don't get behind him.
I can definitely see that happening, but it's going to be not for a while yet, because we're actually set up in Portugal. This stage of his career, he's always taken his career seriously. But this stage where he's taken himself away, focused strictly on boxing, and he won't be leaving the UK, leaving Portugal to do anything like that at this stage. But yeah, in the future, why not? Why not?
You said you've been in camp with Dillian quite a few times, right? Over the past year and stuff like that. First off, how's your Portuguese?
To be honest, when I'm out there, I don't really speak it too tough. Just as bad as it was at the start of the year, man.
Now, on a serious note, what I meant to ask you is, how's it been? Obviously, training, with a great fighter like Dillian Whyte. I mean, they do say iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, going out there for the first time, when I first went, it was sort of like a big eye opener. I'd never been involved in a camp of that magnitude before. At the time we were training for the first fight. I got to learn so much about how to improve my game, how to improve my training, just from being around the people in the camp at the time, and even the previous ones that I've been in. So I've been able to take so much away and add to my arsenal now, add to my training, improve my training. So when I do get a fight date, there's a lot more things I'm going to add in, a lot of new things I'm going to add in, to improve myself and make myself better. Had I not gone, I'd still be stuck doing what I was doing before.
Exactly.
They say you got to travel. I got a friend of mine that's told me a saying years ago, and he said, when you become the best somewhere, you got to go to somewhere where you're the worst in order to learn. Because if you're the best, I'm not saying I'm the best, but if you're somewhere, you need to go to somewhere where there's people that's better than you, where you can learn a lot more. So going there is sort of similar to what he's told me, that saying that he told me, where I've gone there and I've learned so much in them camps, and I'm adding it to my game now.
So you had that fight for the English title a little while back, and it was a split draw. Reflecting back on that fight, what do you think kind of went wrong for it to be a draw?
Do you know what? I think the boxing culture in the UK and what the judges favour, it just didn't gel with the way I boxed that night. Had I boxed in America or Mexico or somewhere like that, maybe they would have favoured what I was doing more, because I was always taught from the first day I laced up boxing gloves that boxing is about clean punches. I was never told boxing is about who throws the most punches in a round. If that was the case, boxing would be a whole different sport to what we know. People would just be going out there and trying to throw 1,000 punches around, and there'll be no defense, and there would have been no Pernell Whitakers, there would have been no Mayweathers, there would have been none of them guys. We would just see loads of guys just come out and throw loads of punches. So, looking back on that fight, I landed the cleaner punches. Even though I was on the ropes, I was landing the cleaner shots. I was making my opponent miss a lot. He missed about 50-60% of what he threw. But to the judges, because he was coming forward and pressuring the fight, they saw it as him winning the rounds, and it became a draw in the end. But it's a fight that we can learn from, we can come back from, and I'll just come back better and stronger.
Good answer, man. Xavier, this young man's got a good head on his shoulders, man.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been out in Portugal since March. I mean, this is our third. We're coming to our third training camp. Youssef's been here for every camp. He's had to go home here and there, obviously, see family and so on. But this is why I've taken this young man so seriously. He's one of the guys that I spent years building up, like two previous fighters. And I saw from the first time, I met you, said there's something special about him. It's his mentality. He works really hard. He wants to spar and challenge himself against the best guys. That's why he's well travelled. We've only got one more place only one more box we really need to tick. But he sparred Ricky Burns, Martin J. Ward. He sparred these kind of caliber of fighters. Luke Campbell he sparred. So he wants to be the best, and he does look. His skill set is it's different to what a lot of UK fighters have got. And I'm just hoping that he gets to go on the undercard, so more fans can actually see this young talent, because when he did have the English title fight, they were calling it the best small hall fight for the year. It was an unbelievable fight, and as he said, he was landing the cleaner punches, but a lot of these guys, these judges, they just like to score aggression. That's no disrespect to Liam Dillian, because honestly, he put up an amazing. Listen, the reason why the fight was so good because they both performed well. So I give him all the credit in the world. He really bought the fight. He worked hard. He was fit. But Youssef landed cleaner punches, and Youssef was a stronger guy in the championship round as well. So I was quite shocked with the decision. But I think in many ways it was a blessing, and Youssef will see that in the next 12 to 18 months. Because if it had gone the other way, his career might have not gone where it's going now. What we wanted from the beginning was for Youssef to be a TV fighter. Every time he boxed on a Goodwin show, from the crowds, all the experts that were there, everyone said the same thing. He is by far the best boxer on the show. Every time he boxed, it was the same thing. He just looked a cut and a class above the rest. So, he's going to get a chance to get on TV now and progress with his career.
All right. Well, if Big Dillian, is given an endorsement, man, I think a lot of people need to take notice, man, because you know what I mean. The guy knows his stuff, and he's been at the top of the mountain, man. All right. Okay. IA question for Xavier. Given the Campbell Smith loss, does GB boxing need to question why talent is elite enough? Okay, so I think what he's saying is, at the moment, the great British boxers are just coming up short against predominantly the American fighters. Is there a problem deeper down with lack of talent at elite level?
It's a really difficult one. I mean, I made the decision because when I was coaching in the amateurs, I was asked if I'd be interested in going up to going for badges to be a GB coach, and I said no straight away, because I knew the style of boxing that I want to teach was not going to be they're just not going to accept it up there. So I didn't even bother even getting into it. I didn't want to go to an establishment where you're kind of like the elephant in the room, like what you're doing is just like so different that they're not just not going to accept it. So that's why I didn't bother going forward with it. Over the years, we've got better and better and better. We've got more and more world champions. So UK is doing really, really well. But yes, you're talking about the top guys are still coming out of the US. The likes of Shakur Stevenson just looks, he looks a cut above the rest. Looks pure class. A lot of people were negative about Ryan Garcia. I spoke to Youssef about this before. Youssef sent me a video link saying it was Ryan Garcia sparring a guy from
Rowley.
Rowley. And I said to Youssef at the time, I said, listen, I'm not seeing what everyone else is seeing. To me, he looks like he's patient and he's taking his time. If that was a real fight to me, not sparring, I reckon he'd stop Rowley in about 7-8 rounds. Because he wasn't taking any gambles early. You could see he was quite calculating what he was doing, So it does look like we've still got work to do, but we are. They said we've got good talent here. It's just that when we get up to that level, these guys just got to find something else. That's all. You just got to keep grinding. There's a lot of money being pumped into GB, so really there's no excuse for us not to be able to compete with these top guys. The likes of Luke Campbell, winning the gold medal. Guys in the US like Spence and so on, they're winning gold medals or bronze medals, whatever they won over there. So, the amateur pedigree is deep on both sides of the pond. So really, I honestly couldn't tell you definitively what the issue is, but we should be doing a little bit better. But you know, even Kell Brook said in an interview the other day, he just said, you know, the education system in the US, you know, they're a couple of levels above us still, and that's why with a lot of my guys, I actually wanted to take them, you know, to go and spar, you know, to take them to Philly and so on, and getting some of the guys from Detroit, because that's what I did when I was a lot younger. You know, I traveled and went to different gyms and had to deal with that hostile environment. And as I said to a lot of my boxers, as good as you guys look, you'll be a number in there, because when you go to Philly, like they've got like a whole gym of Danny Garcias. They've all got that skill set. So you know that's maybe why, you know, the pool is deeper out there, and for you to get out of that, you have to be special. Maybe that's how we should look at it here. You know, maybe the pool needs to be a little bit deeper here. But yeah, so that's a really good question. Really good question.
All right, guys, smash that like button. Youssef Khoumari in the building. Xavier Miller. All right, okay. All right, we've answered that question already. Right, Dark Knight. This is not Batman, I might add. All right, Xavier, what do you think about Dillian? What do you think Dillian needs to work on? What have you focused on mainly, without giving away too much secrets?
Yeah, I like the way you worded that at the end, not giving away too much secrets. I think Dillian, as every single boxer on the planet, needs to do the same thing. You need to be in the gym. You're a fighter by trade, which means you should be in the gym and working and getting better every day. So I'm talking all aspects of Dillian's game. All my boxers, they need to improve, because there's someone else in the gym working just as hard as you. And sometimes the guy you're looking to fight might be a little bit more naturally talented than you, which means you've got to work even harder. So to me, it's the same for all fighters. You've got to be working and you've got to improve. So I'm talking all areas: footwork, you know, the way you deliver your punches, learn to control range, you know, everything. You've got to do better.
Povetkin, Dillian's not too convinced by his COVID illness. I think that I saw a couple bits online. I mean, what do you make of the whole situation?
Yeah, listen, he's been around a long time, hasn't he? So who knows what kind of games he's playing, but it's not going to help him. We've been consistent. We've been working in the gym. You know, Dillian's just getting better all the time, and it just gives us more time. So I don't know what they think delaying the fight's going to do. And I'm actually glad now it has been delayed, because obviously you put it out that you got COVID, and you know there's going to be no excuse about, well, you know, the fight was too early, we didn't get enough time to recover. The fight's not till March, so you're getting more than enough time to get good. So I'm glad, I'm happy. You know, we just need to get back in the ring. You know, I want that revenge. You know me already, Pro B. You know, I'm a competitive guy. You know? I want that win and then move forward.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's crazy, because I'm seeing more so now when a fighter wins or loses a fight, the trainer's name is now involved in the whole picture. So if it goes wrong, it's the train. Have you noticed it's a lot more now? The trainer. Now people without the crowd, now they can hear the instructions now, and now people are listening for that. Mm-hmm. Oh, did they get the right instructions? So there's a lot of trainers.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's another good point. Well, two things. To be honest with you, I would say that some trainers are being put in the firing line. It's not like they're coming to attack everybody. It's like they've been selective. You know, every high-profile coach has lost fights, but some don't get questioned, some do. Listen, that's just the name of the game. And the fact that there's no crowds and you can hear everyone in the corner, I'm glad they can hear what I'm saying in the corner, because, you know, I've always been very, very good at that. I mean, that's my main strength, is actually giving, you know, the right advice in the corner. So I don't mind. They can listen all they like. They can put an amplifier if they want. That's all good to me. It don't make no difference.
What do you make of that, Youssef? Pressure on trainers now.
I think it stemmed from a sort of chain of where boxers refuse to accept responsibility for what happened. I think there was a time in boxing where whenever a fighter lost, they'd fire the trainer straight away. And I think that's the fans have now seen this, and the boxing media have seen this, and it's sort of created a culture where if something goes wrong, the blame is straight on the team instead of the boxer itself. So, me personally, what I think of it is they're forgetting that the boxer is the person in the ring sometimes. The boxer is the person in the ring. It's not always the trainer's fault. It's not always the team's fault. The boxer's in there doing the thing. Sometimes you give the boxer the right instructions, the boxer doesn't go and do it. So, what more can the trainer do at the end of the day? It's not always the trainer's fault. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, and you have to remember, win, lose, draw. The mentality of the boxer, the coach, S&C coach, nutritionist, the whole team should be the same. We won together, we lost together, we got a draw together. It should be no blame culture. If you've got a good, strong team, listen, let me get that rematch. The whole team should be positive, get back in there and right the wrongs. I mean, like I said, it would be okay if it was across the board, but certain people seem to be picking certain names and just want to be going with that, which to me is wrong. I could sit here and name like a good, easily 5-6 trainers that have lost high-profile fights, and no one said a word. But if that's the culture, that's the culture. But that's not going to stop, us from what we're trying to do. We're on a journey, and as I said in a previous interview, I did an interview last week. I said the only people that actually matter are the people in my circle, because I've got a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. I've got a lot of boxers, I've got a lot of coaches coming up behind me. So they see where I am and they want to get there. So I've got to provide for them. I've got to do well for those guys. Like everybody else, I don't know them personally, so I can't take what they say personally because I don't even know them.
You feel like
time they're talking rubbish anyway.
Hey,
what time is the guys that only tune in for the big fights, or they watch one or two pay-per-view boxing events and all of a sudden they're boxing expert? I want to say this guy needs a new trainer and that guy needs a new trainer, or this trainer's rubbish or that trainer's rubbish.
And it's an interesting conversation, because a lot of time when you talk about coaches, when you actually look back and you ask yourself a question, who have they built from scratch? Then it's a completely different conversation. Then people don't want to talk about that. Sometimes you get thrown in with a high profile boxer, and next minute you're the best coach. It don't work like that. I put in years to be here, so yeah, that stuff doesn't work on me. Like, I respect every single coach because I've had to sacrifice everything, and I know the time they put in, that's time they're not having with their family. Some guys have got to go abroad, for months. Like, you will never hear me speak negative about another coach. To me, why? That should be a culture where you're praising and appreciating what the guys are doing. And if a coach is lucky enough to get a high profile boxer, it should be commended, because, like I said, with me now, I've been in boxing since I was 11 years old. I'm 49. Like, how much more years do you have to put in to say,
what cream are you using, man? What cream are you using?
I don't
Cocoa
know.
bar.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's how many more years? Like, if you compare, a lot of times you'll compare, like, say, me to another coach. They probably haven't been in boxing as long as I have, but because they've been on the big stage from early, then it's a different sort of energy. But yeah, as I say with nearly every single topic, do your homework before you start judging. Do your homework.
Could we see like some coaches like speaking in another kind of language in the corner so the TV don't pick it up? I mean, would you speak like patois in the corner so they can't pick it up?
I do, yeah. But I mean, with me and Youssef, sometimes we've got numbers, we've got codes. There's certain words that only me and Youssef understand. I'm saying I've got different communication with all my boxers, but because me and Youssef have been together so long, there's stuff that I say in the corner that no one will ever know what's going on apart from me and him. So, but again, you see, that's years of building up. I've known Youssef. I've been training Youssef for about 7-8 years.
That's probably a good idea now, so that the advice from the corner doesn't get mistranslated and criticized by, some of the people that are looking just to troll on social media.
And that's exactly. I mean, even with coaching in the corner, the guys that I grew up watching that I liked, the likes of like Georgie Benton, Eddie Futch. A lot of them are quite soft spoken. They're not like rah loud guys. Like the most important thing in the corner is to get the right advice, not for someone to be shouting and screaming. Like what people try and give people praise for is crazy. It's mad. Honestly, it's crazy.
All right, man. All right, we're gonna get to the questions. Engage the viewers. Okay. All right. Question to you, Youssef. All right. Mayweather has heavily influenced boxers to keep their zero or keep their O, shall I say. I think that mindset is unsustainable. All right. So when you had that draw, you still got your O, but it's not O, if you know what I mean. Did that in any way affect your mindset afterwards?
Maybe for a split second. Because you as a boxer, you want the perfect record. You want your career to go the fairy tale way, like Floyd's did. Then you want to have the amazing record, but we have to look at the reality of it. Now, boxers have to look at the reality of it, and if you're gonna want to get in there with the top guys and fight the right fights and fight the fights that people want to see, you might end up having a scratch on your record here or there. It's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. Unless you want to fight tomato cans every week, you might get a blip on the record. It's just how it goes. I think Mayweather had the perfect record. He's special. I mean, it should always be in a boxer's ambition, I reckon, to have that perfect record. But if a blip does happen, like what happened to me, just take it on the chin and come again. It's just how it goes. It's boxing. I mean, some of that comes from, I think, the casual boxing fan scene, where all you have to do is go on a YouTube video and go in the comments after a loss, and you see how they rip people after a loss. So they're a bit at fault for it as well. But it's up to the boxers, man. The boxers need to know that your career's not over just after one draw or one loss or whatever, man. You can always come back from anything. But yeah, I think with a lot of boxing fans, they need to learn more about boxing and look into the history of boxing. I mean, how many guys do we know have finished with a perfect record?
Exactly.
Like off the top of my head now, I got Joe Calzaghe, I got Floyd,
Marciano.
Marciano. It's a very small percentage.
Yeah, Ricardo Lopez as well. I think he finished with a draw.
Ricardo Lopez there. It's a very small percentage. So the top guys out there have lost. Top guys, Holyfield, top guys. Guys that have unified divisions, they've lost. So the whole thing about you have to keep the O is people need to start throwing away that mentality, man. It's only gonna finish a boxer off if he takes it too seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the draw. I don't care. I got the draw. I don't care. I mean, I'm moving on with my career, onwards and upwards, man.
And you feel like
gone.
Sorry, do you feel like guys now that the promoters are being pressurized to put on more competitive fights? So there's going to be losses anyway, because boxers are going to be in really tough fights.
Yeah, exactly. Because of the whole situation in the world's in now, people are getting thrown into harder 50-50 fights. It's even harder now to keep the O. But, I think boxing fans and the boxing media need to be a bit more forgiving when someone takes a loss. We saw when Yard lost to Kovalev, a lot of guys were finishing him off. They were saying he's overrated, he's hyped, but he lost to a world champion. There's no shame in losing to a world champion.
Exactly. Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It took Ricky and how long to come back when Manny knocked him out, because people were saying he's done, he's finished, he's all that. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
I mean, that mentality of having to keep the O is got to go, man. It's got to go.
Yeah, and people forget with the O, Floyd Mayweather could fight, man. They always want to talk about his O, but early in his career, that man was a monster. And when he got clipped and got shook up, he came firing straight back. He's a real fighter, man. I wish they'd talk more about, his fights like with Chop Corley. And it's just he had some fantastic fights. Emmanuel Augustus, he had some wars. He had some really good fights. So
it's true.
Talk more about that.
Exactly, and I think as well the boxing media and boxing fans, right? They want to see more of the top guys fight each other. if they stop slating guys and trying to finish guys off for losing and drawing, maybe we'd see fighters take more risk and fight the fights that we want to see.
Excellent
Because maybe
point.
they won't be so scared to lose their own.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, nowadays fans want to finish off people just for having one draw, one loss, and they got to change that.
But you said, bro, what do you say for a fighter, you know, that's out there, you know, enjoying himself with a bit of time off, heading to the club, man, you know, talking to the girl saying, look, I'm 15-0-0. That look good, right, for the fighter, right, in the club?
It looked good, but you know what? in the club, who's going to really know, man?
Yeah. I'm just playing with you.
I'm 20, I'm 20, who's gonna really,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Just playing with you, man. All right. Adam Beanie Smith, how do you feel seeing Dillian Whyte sleeping in Eddie's back garden? Should have stayed loyal to Mark Tibbs. Wow.
See, you sound like a child. Seriously. Like, you know, you shouldn't even be on this chat to an interview. If that's your mentality, just go and watch another sport, man. Like, let's go next question. Waste of time.
We'll flag that off. All right, okay. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you ain't subscribed. We got Youssef Khoumari in the building. Xavier Miller. IQ Boxing Stable.
IQ. Team White. Let's go.
All right. Dark Knight. Batman. Okay. Do you prefer more mandatory defense fights for champions? Also, do you think there are too many belts? Question for all.
You've got some good questions, man.
Mm.
Yeah, so this sound like a sensible person. Super, you grab this one.
All right. You know what? The thing with the mandatory defense fights, right? If more of the fights we wanted to see were coming out of these, then yeah, I'd prefer it. But, you know, sometimes you see some mandatory defenses that fighters are forced into that are nonsense. You know, I'm trying to think of something recently, but I mean, the most recent one I can think of is the Pulev fight. Like, we want to see people, the fans want to see Joshua against all these other guys, all like in top fights. And because of the mandatory, we had to see him fight Pulev. If the mandatory was making better fights, then yeah, but I mean, as of now, they're not. So I guess not for me. I mean, I think there's too many belts in boxing as well at the moment. I mean, it's hard to keep up. I can't even keep up with the world champions in my weight, let alone in the other weight, to be honest. There's the interim, there's silver, there's I don't know what the hell Ryan Garcia won last night, but he won something. I don't know what that was. You know, so I think it'll be better for boxing to go back to having. I was gonna say one world title, but that seems to be out the picture, out of the question. So if we go back to having just the four world titles, without all the interims and silvers and globals and, you know, all these other ones, it'll be a lot better for boxing. We'd stand a chance at getting more of the fights that we want to see. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Xavier, would you say that the mandatories are kind of there to keep the belts active? Because obviously the big fights take time to make. And if you've got your mandatory, I don't know, maybe it's keeping the belt active. What do you reckon?
I suppose it depends on what side of the fence you're on. You know, if it puts you in a beneficial position, then obviously that's what they're going to do. They're going to play that game. But yeah, I mean, I've always looked at guys have to fight, you know, top quality contenders to get themselves in a mandatory position. I mean, that's what I know of boxing. You know, you have to earn your right to be a number one contender. And that's how boxing should be. But unfortunately, you know, people play games to suit their teams. You know, so listen, it's one of those things where there is not one governing body governing everything in boxing, and that's the problem. So while it is what it is, we have to just deal with it and just get on with it. Like again, there's no point complaining because we chose to be in boxing. We have to deal with the politics of boxing. All we can do is focus on getting ready and fight. That's all we can do.
Final question before we out, right? We saw Deontay Wilder say there's one fighter that he wants to fight. If you can't fight Fury, Dillian Whyte. Are you getting the game plan ready from now in case that fight ever gets made in the next, I don't know, 12 months?
I like all those fights. I want the fights that are going to put Dillian in a position to fight for a world title. The names are not that important to me. It's getting Dillian in the position to go and fight for a world title. So whoever it is, we take that fight, and that's the path that he's always taken, and I think that's what he should continue doing. So I like all those fights. I like the Wilder fight, I like the Ruiz fight, I like Ortiz fight, Povetkin fight.
Ortiz, yeah.
Fury fight, Joshua fight. Listen, that's why I respect Dillian so much, because he's willing to fight every single one of them, and he's got one of the best resumes in boxing. Definitely UK. He's got one of the best resumes. So, respect to him.
Has Fury put the blueprint out there to defeat Wilder?
Styles make fights. What works for one fight might not necessarily work for another. So I can't really say that, to be honest with you. A lot of people have always thought that if you put him on the back foot, you can get the better of him. But it's not the first time I've seen him box on the back foot. So it depends. Styles make fights. Dillian has got a lot of different tools. So I think there's a reason why a lot of these guys didn't want to get in the ring with him. He's a very dangerous fighter. He works the body, works the head, and he can do a lot in there. So he's a problem for every single person out there. So I'm just looking forward to just moving forward with his career, and glad to be a part of Team White.
Right. Lastly, sorry, this has come from me. We saw Lewis Ortiz say, "Look, I accept. If it's Dillian Whyte, I accept." What's Dillian Whyte said to you about Ortiz fight? Has there been any developments in that? I know you can't obviously spill all the secrets, but what can you tell me?
Say what he always said in the gym. He always said, "I'm already ready. I'm already ready." So he's ready. He's ready to fight anybody, anyone. I want to ask you a quick question. What did you think of What did you think of the Campbell and Garcia fight?
Good fight. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really got to watch Garcia properly for the first time, and that kid is good, man. 22 years of age, he's good, man. He's got bad intention with his punches and stuff like that. The way he puts his shots together, he's good.
I just like the way he responded from getting dropped. It was a heavy knockdown. You can see when he got up, his legs were good. He seemed to recover straight away. In the corner, he was saying, he can't do nothing to me. That's like the mentality, man. You can see he's a fighter. He's not a YouTube boxer. He's a serious talent. And his amateur pedigree, along with Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, these guys come up together and they box each other, and they're going to be a problem. And there's no rush to throw them in with each other anyway. Like, a lot of these fights take time to build and to make. They can be like mega fights down the line. So there's a lot of contenders. These guys can go and get the experience. I'd like to see someone like Ryan fight the likes of Linares and those kind of guys, and just keep building it better, because he was making a lot of fundamental mistakes last night, and obviously against a bigger puncher could get himself in trouble. So maybe focus and work on those things, And he's got a very good coach. You got Canada's coach. So you can't really go wrong. You got one of the best. So.
Youssef, before we go, what did you make of that the fight last night?
Yeah, man. It's likewise. I thought it was a good fight. I thought it was entertaining. It was a good fight, man. Ryan Garcia got to show, he ain't just an Instagram boxer. Like, a lot of people were calling him, and it was good to see. Of course, a lot of our fellow British fighters are going over to America and losing, and last night was another one. So it's just thinking about like the first question, what do we need to do to start going over there and start winning? It's about time that we need to go over there and start winning now, because that's two in the space of nearly 2 weeks. We had Smith, and then now Campbell. So, you know what I mean? We need some more. I know there's guys in that weight from over here. There's James Tennyson's around. There's Alpha Barrett's around, but them guys, I feel like them guys are just fighting. Well, not Tennyson, but I feel like Zalfa and Cordine and them, and they just keep fighting tomato can after tomato can. Like, if I was in them guys' position, I wanted my name to be in the mix of all them top guys with Garcia and Gervonta. And Zalfa's on 20-something fights. Tier 3 more unified the division at 15 fights. What are them not doing, hanging about? They've won Commonwealth, they've won British title. They're not trying to move up, or what? Are they just sticking around trying to fight domestic level guys? If I was them, I'll be going straight for them.
Wow, man. Hey, man. Hey, look, Youssef, before we head out, you want to shout out your social media to the people locked in?
Yeah, man. You know, super_Youssef on Instagram. It's easy to find. Yeah, follow me up. Follow the journey. Quick shout out to my sponsors as well: Tiger Bay, Benja, Ealing Boards, Esco Barbers, and KMT.
All right, Xavier, anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, obviously, big shout out to my sponsors. I mean, the support throughout the whole of 2020 was amazing. You know, KMT, Kevin from KMT, you know, a clothing company. Bravos, a boxing glove company, and that's been amazing. Tiger Bay, Ealing Boards and Timber. I mean, honestly, the support has been just unbelievable, man, and you know, still being sponsored. So this year, you know, need their backing again to, you know, support me with the pros that I've got. You know, obviously Dillian, Youssef, Dennis Swahome, you know, Julio, Yasser Gina, Adrian Redmond. You know, got Plamedy coming through in a bantamweight. Sadem, female boxer, she joined the stable as well. So yeah, we've got a really, really good team and looking to move forward. So yeah, this year's going to be good. I mean, just everyone's got to be patient. You know, boxing's in a crazy place right now, but big up to all the promoters from, you know, the UK and from the US that managed to put on boxing shows throughout the whole of 2020 because they kept the sport alive. So yeah, good work.
Right, guys, thanks for tuning in.
Pleasure.
Keep it locked, subscribe,
Pleasure,
all that.
Pleasure.
Pep Talk UK.
Oh, man.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Cool.